Oh, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Jar of Marble dwellers and Jar of Marble curious. My name is Linda and this is Jar of Marbles. Hello, Bob. Hello, everybody. We're really glad that you're here. See, did you hear that little, it was just a little snort, wasn't it? Well, anyway, I thought I heard it, but it doesn't. Anyway, this week I'd like to talk a little bit about because we can. Often after we reach our own time in life, that is, we're no longer raising our kids, they're successfully taking care of themselves to the toilet because they are 35. Hopefully we're not paying their bills because, well, they've never had to manage their money. We've always come to the rescue. Hopefully we raise them, encourage them to be self-sufficient enough. And we're not making excuses for ongoing bad behaviours with their inventive, creative stories about how terrible their lives are because of the mistakes that you apparently made as a parent. I mean, the list goes on. Oh, the horror stories I have heard. Apparently, there's a lot of kids, and we were talking about adults, who are basically keeping their parents hostage because they just didn't do a good enough job raising them. And I'm talking about the ones where parents have clearly done their absolute best, maybe guilty of giving too much, but that can be turned around soon enough. Having parents feeling like they've got to do better to try to earn their love, there's a lot of that out there. We've come a long way, marble dwellers, that we now get to live our lives. Absolutely. Which brings me to my next point, which is I'd like to talk a little bit about because we can. So much in life as we develop through our teens and all through our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s and beyond, no matter how far you have travelled in the so-called wrong direction, you can always turn around. We may have been struggling with decisions that haven't served us or we're too scared to change direction. When everything is a struggle, it seems, it takes away your joy, doesn't it? And when you're not feeling happy, life becomes hard as hell. I think the difference between success and failure, no matter how talented you are, your mindset will decide how and why you move forward. We can stay stuck for a time, hopefully for only a shortish, brief time. We can stay stuck in bitterness, and bitterness hardens our hearts, and it makes us believe that nothing can or will be able to hurt us. And what happens is hardness of our heart stops the ability to experience love, and not just romantic love, but the love of your life, love of a pet, friends, love of our beautiful world, love and care for yourself. The bitter feelings can have us stuck in stories that just don't make sense or work for us at all. They're usually someone else's narrative, and they've conveniently slid you into it, and hey presto, it's all your fault. And, it's just not. It robs us of our significance, our place in the world, and more importantly, in a terrific place within our own selves. It can rob you of your damn sanity. I have a penchant for calm. I'm not attracted to drama, and when folk think they're going to involve me and play hurtful, silly games, I'm out. And that deserves no explanation. The older I get, the less I can bear anything that is geared, designed to trip me up, to hurt or make someone less, and particularly so if it's me. After all, I may be standing alone, have no one to defend me, and if I need defending, well, that's just another red flag. Had plenty of that hogwash in my life, and I feel I have had quite enough. And so because of that, born from that was a life is about the little things that you barely even notice. That delicious coffee you have in the morning, the soft purr of your pussycat, your friend contacting you to say hi and invite you out for coffee, the moon shining brightly, the sun shining, healing rays of loveliness into your skin, spring flowers popping through. Paying conscious attention to these details will only light you up and make life worth living. Sure makes me feel that way. Now, that was a brief interlude of how many of us have travelled in and out of our lives, working out the machinations of married life, partnerships of all kinds, raising our children, working, studying, and in between all of that, who we are as we develop and grow into our ages and into our elder ages. All of us have stories, and I'm so very interested in others' stories. I've always been interested in stories. I want all the details, the music, the sounds, the reactions, the conversations, aspects of their lives that are simply stunning and so interesting. The best storytellers can be so blasé about their lives. Isn't that true? As I listen to others intently, it's sort of like a precious gift. It's encouraged me to take interest in my own life. You realise how more aware you become of what is worth your energy.
Oh boy, I love that. Really?
Oh, yes, you get to decide who you keep company with, Bob, who you talk to, what you take seriously and what you're going to take on. Making yourself happy again is the biggest comeback. Oh, shit, yes.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, me too, Bob. Making yourself happy again is the biggest comeback. All of this brings you clearly around the bend, over the mountain, to clearly know you can live your life happily because you choose it. Because you can, because we can. That's right. Absolutely. Now, look, we have no control of what knocks us around or down, but we do control making sure we are getting back up and enjoying our lives. And we can do all of that and more. And why? I'll tell you why. Because we can. We absolutely can. There comes a time when there is zero tolerance for the bullshit that we may feel we have put up with. Then the day arrives, well, it's probably a series of days, more like years, that have to go by, and finally, hopefully, you decide to set yourself free. And to all the exes or the ex, depending on how many you've had, and the more the merrier, no judgment here, dwellers, they're exes for a reason. They'll have their noble stories as to why they are exes. They're exes for a reason. I love me an ex. It means the bullshit is over. It means the wake-up call has been heard. Someone else will discover what we discovered, and thank heavens for that. Once you've discarded the trash, you get to live how you please. Why? Because we can. Our kids leave home and suddenly we are no longer their personal assistant. We realise how we may have done too much and did not prepare them for real life. We may have set them up as best we can for life, and whatever and however that looks, they're not all horror stories. But regardless, we have to get focused on our own next steps. Sometimes we realise that we haven't been looking after ourselves properly, that we have allowed neglect to be okay as long as they are okay. As long as they are okay. And of course, referring to the family in general. And further to that, we may actually believe it, so much so that we really have forgotten about who we are and who we can be, because we've been so involved in their lives. And so many of us are involved in every aspect of our adults' kids' lives, and it's just any wonder that it turns into such a big mess. So either way, you get to actually start living your life as you see it. And why is that? Because you can. Absolutely. Whoop, whoop. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I do love a good little applause. I do. Not all of us save ourselves. Not all of us know that that's even a thing. It's a thing, marble dwellers. Hopefully you have allowed yourself to have your own life and let the adult children do their own washing and picking up their wants in their spare time instead of yours. After when does your next chapter start? I hope you can free yourself, because we are on the final track here. So many will miss the call to their life believing that they must tend to their kids. Adult kids who so many are using to the max. It's a bad look. It's endemic, a social issue, not what I'd call vogue at all. Making yourself happy again is the biggest comeback. I sure hope you do. I see folk who are completely lost to toxic connections with adult kids who are flat out using and abusing their parents. I've seen these people with their Facebook pages all about love, respect, and they have so many fooled that they're these caring, selfless, altruistic, philanthropic, how they empower people through their businesses, etc., and are shockingly awful people. I know this because I know their parents, who they have, short of beating them to a pulp, have taken years off their lives with their incessant need to be cruel. The saddest thing is this can ruin people in my age group's lives, as they simply cannot pull away. Much like looking at an accident, they just can't look away. And what are our truest motivations to maintain lousy relationships? Who benefits truly from them? Who benefits from breathing life into them? Is it a courage thing? Is it a self-respect question? I think it is those things both, and a love thing. I believe we have to display love for ourselves, self-respect kind of love, to model that behaviour in order for others to model it within themselves while in your presence. If we allow bad behaviour to go on, we are effectively saying, yes, please kick me when I'm down. And there are many out there who just don't care, and they will. So we are to look at our motivations. Here's an example of motivation. Last week, I had something like 376 views, and it happened very, very quickly over a period of a couple of days. Now, something that's been going on with my podcast for, I think, about 15 episodes now is my views are getting taken away left, right and centre. Even ones from way back, I'll just come back and there'll be 50 gone, 50 views, 100 views, 49 views. It's just really weird. And so the point is I'm not going to allow that to stop me from doing this. And my desire is to help, to inspire, to save. If possible, I'll just keep going because I want to reach people and help. I want to have fun. I want to develop myself and my skills as I do this. And if change and happiness is possible, which I absolutely believe it is, then there's my motivation. If my motivation wasn't genuine, I'd be losing sleep over losing views. But I actually sleep well. I've travelled many roads to ultimately find the right road for me, and there will be many more right roads in the future too. This is a road. The podcast, me talking, is a road to lead any of us that require it to the next thing, to feel inspired about our own lives. I am not happy to float along and just see what happens. I'm way too old for that. I'm now 62. And before I know it, I'll be 72, 82, if I'm that lucky. Life goes very, 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 very fast. So regarding my views, I go to checking it again and again and again. They skim just so many off my numbers. And anyway, it's all perspective, right? I'm staying regardless because if nothing else, this podcast has grown me. It has asked me to go within and ask questions that I wouldn't have. And it is the questions that I love. And they are also very challenging because I don't always know what I'm going to come up with. Surprise! Anywho, point is, I'm pushing forward because I believe in what I'm doing. I'm no celebrity. I'm a nobody in the world of famous geezers. I want you to push through. That's my point. The question, do you live your life despite what adult children decide you have to do or would have you do or what you agree to do or what you put your hand up to do? Bugger that for a joke. Man, we taught them how to use a spoon. We taught them how to wipe their bum. Many of us raised our kids single-handedly, and the dads much later, when it doesn't matter anymore, can jump up and down about their rights and yet did nothing to help, and we mean nothing to add to the kids' well-being with the love and kindness that they so deserved and wanted. This story is too common. It is just appalling. I'm not putting up with any crap. I'll be dead soon enough. And so life has to mean something to me more than ever. Yesterday I went to a funeral and it was an absolutely gorgeous ceremony, and it was actually a Greek Orthodox ceremony, which I've never been to before, and I really didn't know what to expect. But my goodness, the whole text, everything that was said was sung, and it was just so lovely, and it just made me realise that everyone is worthy of redemption in that moment. And then we went to the burial site, and I guess, again, as I've said about the finality of life, bing, bang, bong, before you know it, you're on to a new chapter, and that will be all of our chapters. That's something we all know. We're not getting out of this alive. But meanwhile, as I was saying, I'm not going to be putting up with any crap. Life has to mean something, and because my life personally has changed so much from working and raising children, and that's all behind me now. Although, as you know, I do spend 3 days a week with my grandson, which is just an absolute joy. And it's just another string to my bow. It's another series of experiences. It's having a baby in your arms, and the innocence and the laughs and the giggles and the cuddles. Just beautiful. But, we can aspire for loads of happiness and experiences. And you must ask me why, and I say because we can. Anyway, even if you had a next to perfect life, there still comes a time when life is running up to meet you and is asking you for next steps. Life moves pretty fast sometimes, doesn't it? There are key moments where I swear life is just spilling from my hands, just way too fast. And if you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. When something is for you, it will bring clarity and an alignment to you. Not chaos and confusion. You never have to question that nor your worth. Looking back, I really did question my worth in spots when I just couldn't get through to a, say, valued family member, or when I was growing and in some instances the only one, which made life a bit lonely, and I couldn't really take listening to people complaining about their lives, because it washes over you like a pollution, and it's a tough energy to navigate when you are in a good space. There's the choice right there. Do I join my complaining friend? Once I would have without thinking about it, But when I was unaware of the terrible space I was subjecting myself to, it was just, I just didn't realise what I was doing, and it was all in the name of friendship, But now I avoid it. It is not my place to point that out or expect them to bounce out of negative thinking. It's much like trying to tell someone who's a hardcore cigarette smoker, you should try and think about giving up. Not my business, and that's not how it works. People have to work that out for themselves, make that decision themselves, and that's like anything in life, right? So when you've tried to encourage anybody to own their right to being just bloody happy, when you have to protect yourself from your dearest friends because they are dead set determined to not own their power and leave you feeling saddened every time you speak to them, I had to ask myself, are we growing together? Are we recommending growth opportunities, good books to read? Are we having fun anymore? Has the state of our friendship been like this for a long time? And if the answer is yes, then I must remind myself kindly, if it feels destructive and toxic, it isn't for you. It isn't for anybody. When you really care about yourself, you no longer ignore the signs.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, so do I, Bob. You release what must be released. And maybe the releasing could be as simple as not taking any of their stuff on board, nod and agree and do what you want anyway, so that you can receive what needs to be received. It's like a major release of obsession. We can be obsessed with getting our friend, for example, anybody you care about, to get on board, to feeling excited about life, that it isn't one way. And when it has reached a point where self-respect has gone, maybe it's been like that for a long time. The confusion you pray will leave, but after you've been around and around the roses half a dozen times, usually much more than that, but for the sake of the story, there just comes a time where you have to choose a healthy assignment, choosing what you know. No begging or convincing or hoping to believe, no forcing to. You deserve to feel grounded, safe and at ease. And with this knowing, you park their stories, not yours, with which you can do nothing with, and you go build your life. Otherwise, you end up digging up all your rubbish. Oh, they've got a bag of rubbish, so you'll just dig up your little bag of rubbish and then you'll just, mingle all your rubbish. No, I say no. Hashtag because you can. Trust that what belongs to you will always find you. You cannot leave your head in the sand. Maybe it's a lack of courage to face what's happening. There are solutions, and for whatever reason, it could be timing, your stage of life. You may not really know that anything needs attending to. And as I've said in other episodes, where my 3 daughters are concerned, I was the only parent that showed up, and yet the missing parent is the one that they craved. And totally understandable. It's complex, but anywho, ultimately, it can make kids think that they aren't lovable because of the missing in action father's neglect. Man, it causes so much pain that it's a heartbreak. I witnessed it, I'll never forget. But with lots of love, kids hopefully realise that they were never hard to love. It in fact had nothing to do with them, that one day the kids just can't be manipulated or controlled anymore because they are now adults and perhaps parents themselves. And perhaps they just got better at honouring their boundaries. Looking back while raising my kids and believed that they had a happy life, it only got sticky and only got uncomfortable and weird when the father tried to upend our lives. Complete selfish narcissists. Full stop. So no matter how well you have parented, there could be kids that believe that they somehow missed out and will carry that into their adult lives with a festering hatred that is impossible to navigate. If that is your story, I know personally that this can be a hard pill to swallow, and it seems that life stops, and it has many times for me, a complete stop, that I can barely breathe for the grief. We are all different and express ourselves differently. That alone can cause separations. But marble dwellers, sadly and truthfully, if this is you, or even if it isn't you, there is a call to duty, a duty to your own life. For 1 minute, please try and stand in silence and look at the sky and consider how amazing life is. You know, someday you will look back and know exactly why all of it had to happen. And maybe you know now. You'll make memories with other people. You don't want to hurt them back. That will not heal your pain.
Oh, I've got a joke.
Oh, is this even appropriate?
I think so.
All right, well, let's hear it.
How do you say constipation in German?
How?
Far from poopin'.
You know what? That's not bad. It's not bad at all, Bob. You know what strength? Moving on from someone who isn't even sorry. Maybe they think you should be sorry. Either way, choose happy. Sometimes you've got to stand up and say, enough is enough. Even if it's just you in your lounge room, that you are worth more than what someone offers you. All you can do is learn your lesson. There is 0 point in wishing you had done it differently. The past is the past. Accept it and grow from it. This is the hope from me part. That maybe my story that I have overcome will be a part of you moving forward, because you can. You absolutely can. It is a good start to stop worrying so much about that person who is not worried about you. I'm loving the notion of reclaiming my life. I feel like I do that every day. Maybe it's my intention playing out in real time. Reclaim your life and invest it where you feel appreciated. Yes, so start prioritising your life and watch your life get better. And it will. Facts. True words. Not every relationship is meant to last forever. That has played out in my life well and truly. There seems to be a magical duration where your life with others makes sense. Then time goes by and they're gone. They're in the past. Still grateful for all of it. People who are no longer in my life nor will ever be again, so grateful. No one is worth losing yourself for. The gratitude I feel is also relief that I do and can rely on myself fully. Hashtag because we can. And there you have it, folks. We've reached the end of another inspiring episode of Because We Can. I hope you've enjoyed our journey today, coming to terms with and accepting the incredible freedom and joy that comes with embracing life on your own terms. Any time in life for me now, especially as we grow older, that we cannot let others get in our way. Remember, age is just a number, and it can be your license to create, plan and embrace life with fun and glee. I do like the word glee.
Glee.
That's right, glee. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with a thought. In our older years, we've gained wisdom, experience, and the unique ability to appreciate the beauty of life in all its forms. So let's just use it.
Yeah, let's.
That's right, Bob. You're so much fun, Bob.
And handsome.
Oh, gosh, yes. When doubt creeps in or life throws us a curveball, remember the story we've shared and experienced in our lives. We people who defied conventions, proved to ourselves that we matter, pursued your passions, proved that it's never too late to dance to the rhythm of your own life. Just keep going. The day happens when you absolutely know that you desire change in your life, but you know you don't have to stay there. That's the difference. That knowing. So glad you're here. Thank you for joining us on this journey. It's a bit exciting, I feel.
You're welcome.
Oh, good one, Bob. And remember, life is what you make of it. So go out there, live it how you want to, because you can. Until next time, keep living life on your terms. You know, you actually can. And cheers to a life well lived. Say good day to the family for me. Give the budgie a cuddle, and I'll see you next time, okay?
Goodbye,
All right.
goodbye,
Bye.
goodbye, goodbye.